Welcome to ViewSpection. Whether you're doing commercial kitchens, job sites, or Main Street commercial, ViewSpection's mobile inspector app will change and digitize the way your inspections are completed. So let's get started. We'll start with quotes to visit, the onboard inventory of all the cases that the inspector has. They can scroll through and select, or if there is work in progress, can proceed to that. And we'll start with a commercial survey. The information, questions, buildings, liability is all selectable. The information that was entered by the carrier or the vendor is available. The phone number is dialable from the application to contact the agent or the policy holder. Now we'll move on to questions. With ViewSpection, the focus is on images and questions. Any type of question, form field, radio button, pull downs may be used. The carrier or the vendor can determine what are the questions that are needed. Now we'll move on to buildings. With ViewSpection, you can build as you go. Here you'll see that there's already several buildings in place. We can add additional buildings, and once we do that we can get started and do the outside, inside photos and comments, which will be organized around that building in the final report. Then we do a 360-degree walk around, front, right, rear, left. We're building a visual tour of the building, of the buildings on the property. ViewSpection will guide the inspector to take photos in the landscape mode. And now we'll take a look at some of the other possibilities with the images. If you click on rear, you would be able to view the photo, or you can delete it by clicking the X. Moving on, let's take a look at the roof. We can do a number of things. We can state that it was not accessible, put in the age, put in the type of cover, the standard defects, the typical curling shingles, missing shingles. If we click one of those, we will be activating the camera, taking the recommendation picture, and building the recommendation as we go. Next, let's take a look at another way of doing defects. There's standard recommendations, and as you can see here, they're custom defects. When the typical defect isn't quite right, you can make your own recommendation label and generate your own recommendation right in the field by dictating it or typing it in. And the inspector can view the recommendation that was made. Next, we'll take a look at the inside section. Electric, wiring. Let's take a look at heating and cooling, for example. We can put in the age. Here we'll indicate that there's no cooling system. And again, we have standard defects, custom defects. Let's take a look at the help function. Onboard help is in place. Now we'll take a look at the solid fuel burner section. The solid fuel burner is quite an extensive reporting with questions that can be filled out in the field or on the web platform afterwards. The photos, we guide the inspector through all the photos that are necessary for successful reporting. And we can run through the recommendations for clearances and gather those measurements with images for QA follow-up. Here's the private protection section, configurable. We can add additional photos, unlimited. Comments can be dictated or typed in the field or on the web. Once we're complete here, we can move back and continue on any other additional buildings, add buildings as we see them. Finishing up the report, we can do supplements. Here, case special instructions are mandatory if there are present. And now that we're completed, we could press upload, and in this case it's not complete, so they get an error message. Web work can be completed by the inspector once they return to their office. This completes the tour of the ViewSpection Inspector app.